Back on the Nation at 5 with the mega CNN News 18 exclusive. It's a big news break that we put out here close to noon earlier in the day. Multiple Kashmiri journalists working with local publications resigned after a terrorist organization put out a list of over a dozen media persons accusing them of being informers of security forces. That's how the narrative has always been spun. So anybody who takes on these secessionist elements or Pak-backed elements then gets tried to be branded differently. But on CNN News 18, we are exposing the mastermind behind this entire plot, this entire PSYOPs desperation that's come in. We've been able to piece together that who are these ISI puppets, stooges who are doing it. These are terrorists who are operating on from foreign soil. We've been able to access an entire dossier that's been prepared, which shows that these elements who are sitting abroad on foreign soil are connected to certain moles within. And it is these moles who are part of the journalistic fraternity, the civic society in Jammu and Kashmir, who have put forth these names, and that's why they've been listed. 6 individuals have been identified, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the Jammu and Kashmir police suspecting the role of the Lashkar Front, TRF, and exactly that's the case. But CNN News 18 accessing this dossier that details the entire plot. It's not just Pakistan and its proxies, but also there is a Turkey connection that is emerging. The person who's the mastermind or who's orchestrating it is a erstwhile resident of Srinagar who moved to Ankara or was seen in Ankara in 2018. Ankara is in Turkey. And this person is Mukhtar Baba, a 55-year-old terrorist who is now issuing these threats to journalists. This terrorist, original resident of Srinagar, who escaped to Turkey. He visits Pakistan often and is the kingpin behind this entire PSYOPs game or this communications narrative that's spun. He's also brainwashing, grooming youngsters, influencing them via social media. He's a network of journalists that he built over a period of time, because he also worked with journalist or media groups operating out of Jammu and Kashmir in the past, organizations, outfits like Greater Kashmir and some other organizations he's been a part of. So he understands the media environment and he has connect and contact too on ground. Mukhtar Baba, notorious for coercive means against journalists. He was, after the 2010 agitation, he also joined Masarat Alam's Muslim League. He had been arrested in the past for selling 40 AK-47 rifles, for which he earned a huge amount of money. And he was part of the Hezbollah, but he then took out sold these rifles to another terrorist organization. He was then ousted. He was arrested. He came out of bars, came out from behind bars. And then after that continued this propaganda work and intimidation efforts. The efforts to push the narrative at the behest of hostile foreign agencies, specific media outlets fulfilling the adversary's agenda, intimidating other journalists, and more than 6 associates of this Mukhtar Baba have been identified based on absolute objective evidence. There is another aspect that he is in regular touch. Chat details intercept show. He's been in regular touch with Sajjad Gul. Sajjad Gul is again an ISI puppet. He is the communications front for the Lashkar and the TRF, who sits there and pens these notes, etc., and literature. He designs, he knows Adobe and Photoshop, so he designs all of these and then pushes it on social media. So there have been conversations, and some of these conversations have happened even ahead of the murder of Shujat Bukhari. Javed Beg and Amit Raina with us at this point. We have accessed this dossier. There are more details. In fact, 2 individuals have already been identified. And the suggestion is that don't wait to identify the locations of the remaining 4. Go ahead and nab these 2. Amit Raina, Javed Beg. Amit Raina, what would you say?
See, there was always a pro-separatist element in the media fraternity in Jammu and Kashmir. And before 2019, they were more powerful than the mainstream media, than the pro-Indian elements in the media. What happened was, after 2019, because they lost their political patronage, because the government of India was strict on people who were involved in terror finance, terror funding, or terror communication, the sources of funds were dried. And if you see the change in the media communication in Kashmir post 2019, you will find it to be much more open, you will find it to be much more democratic, and you will find it to be much more anti-Pakistan and pro-India. Now, this is something which was not liked by Pakistan and especially the civil society, the so-called civil society in Kashmir, which always was pro-Pakistan and anti-India, had was in worries for many months now, for, accusing people in Greater Kashmir, rising Kashmir, of being pro-India, damaging the cause of jihad, damaging the cause of separatism, and today they have gone and tried to, as target killings have been happening of Kashmiri Hindus and other Hindus in this part of this valley. So there is a communication being sent that it's an effort, communication being sent saying that everything is not normal in Kashmir, and a fierce psychosis, attempt of fierce psychosis is being made to push media saying that you cannot, you have to go back to the old track. There's an attempt to create fear psychosis in people who believe in the idea of India, who believe in the Constitution of India. So there's a consistent effort happening from across the border, and all old people who have been part of this network, who are out right now, may not outside India, not under control of government of India, or arrested. So they are trying to revive those networks and ensure that because the battle Pakistan is losing is somewhere revived.
What should be done of such elements? Because these 6 individuals have been named and identified who are still spinning narratives, who will not say anything when journalists are being threatened openly by these secessionist forces and terrorists, but then they will make all the noises otherwise. So, Javed Beg, what should be done out of these individuals who have now been identified? Should there be a crackdown? Should they be treated as OGWs?
Anand, I first of all congratulate our security institutions who were able to identify these elements and who already named them, that too within 24 hours. So this gives again a lot of confidence to people who were always made target to these vultures. But one thing we have to understand, which needs a national response. There is a global cabal, being run against our country. Turkey is part and parcel of that global cabal. This whole global ecosystem of terror has, gained some good ground in countries like Turkey and Malaysia. We have to understand that, identify these countries, and on national level, we have to give our response. This is very important now. Second, most important thing is, as you rightly said, there are elements in our system as well, who always try to gain sympathy, try to gain political mileage out of showing Kashmir in a different picture. But today they are silent. Those people who are members of honorable parliament, they are silent today. I was threatened, my family been threatened in the past. A hit list being made public. There are people who are enjoying this. They are giving it a different color. They also have to be identified. There are political parties who have been trying to portray a different picture of Kashmir. They are silent today. That national, a national narrative has to be made to identify these people also. If we are identifying the elements of ISI and other terror network working in Kashmir, they should be.
Well, this is what the dossier.
As bad as an OGW is being treated. And a
This
terrorist
is what the dossier says, and I'm reading portions from there, the text itself, that enclosed is a list of 6 individuals in a sealed envelope who are in frequent contact with Mukhtar Baba, 2 of whom have been identified on ground. Without waiting for ascertainment of the remaining 4 on ground, it is recommended that these 2 may be apprehended. That's what the document very clearly says, the suggestion clearly says. And who is this 55-year-old? Amit Raina, who are these 55-year-old? Who's this 55-year-old Mukhtar Baba? He worked as a journalist with Greater Kashmir, Kashmir Observer, CNS and PVI earlier, and therefore is very familiar with the media environment in Kashmir. He had remained in Kot Bhalwal jail for quite some time in 1990, and as per reports, he's been placed in Turkey sometime in 2018 by Joda Karen Fischer. She's the one who's extracted him from there. An American national of German origin who operated in JNK as a deep penetration ISI agent for almost 8 years before her cover was blown and she was forcefully deported. So this is how deep the rot runs, Amit Raina.
Yes. It is quite deep in the system, and as I said earlier, this Mukhtar Baba not only understands how media works in Kashmir, he also knows who are the people who are sympathetic to the cause. He also uses them to identify the people who are doing a fair reporting today, who are not sympathetic to the cause, and he's exploiting the same. So the two people, the 6 people who have been identified, you need to do the same thing what you have done to Naeem Khan or to Shabir Shah, and they need to be picked and detained and sent to jails across the country and let them rot there. Because if things are effort is being made to make things back normal, such messages, such communications definitely creates fear. You have certain people resigning in certain newspapers out of fear, and it is quite natural. So one has to send a very strong message to the masses, saying that this will not be tolerated.
Very, very rightly said, and somewhere the government has also got to use its diplomatic leverage with Turkey to ensure that this man is spotted, nabbed by the authorities and then extradited so that he can be brought to justice, and he cannot continue to spew venom, vitriol and also brainwash impressionable minds. These activities on foreign soil need also to be stopped and curbed. There is a recommendation that this entire ecosystem needs to be wiped out systematically, because it's not about who's firing the bullet at the end. It's about who's orchestrating it and then eventually getting it to a situation that somebody can come there and then just go ahead and target innocents in Jammu and Kashmir. Javed Beg and Amit Raina, thank you very much. Quick break here on The Nation at 5.